What's your name? What'd you play?
My name is Brett, and I played Yugioh Herald of Perfection today. So,
oh wow.
Yeah. So we'll just hop right into it. So obviously, name of the game, playing 3 Herald of Perfection. You don't know what this guy does. He's got 1800 attack, 2000 defense. As many times per turn, you can discard a fairy from your hand and negate the activation of a monster, spell, or trap card. Effects on monsters only. That's why you can't negate effects on spells or traps, but you can negate the activations. Not once per turn. That's the important part. And then we've got 3 Cyber Angel Benton. Her effect reads whenever she is tributed, doesn't matter how, you get to search your deck for any light fairy monster and add it to your hand. So naturally it combos really well since she's level 6 and Herald's level 6. You get to tribute her off and add any light fairy in your deck to fix your hands, you know, get combo starters, anything that you might need. And then for starters, we play 3 Gildagra. Gildagra is probably the best normal summon in the deck. He lets you pay 3,000 of your life points and send any monster from your extra deck to your graveyard, and I'll get to that here in a minute, what you want to send with this guy. But he is also not a hard once per turn, and so you're going to go to 2,000 life if you open up this guy, like every time. And then also for starters, we have 3 Manju, the 10,000 hands, just generic ritual support. You get to add a ritual spell or a ritual monster from your deck to hand, just really tidies it up. And then we also play the Star Seraph engine. So we play 3 stick and 3 chair. This guy lets you search for any other Star Seraph monster in your deck, including himself. That can come up sometimes. But you usually want to combo it off whenever you have this guy in your hand to special summon himself, draw a card, and then you get to finish off the search from Star Seraph. And since it's still on the resolution, you can summon the one that you search, so then you have 3 monsters on board as long as you have these 2 in hand. And you get, they all replace themselves, so you're like a +3 already. And to round off the monsters, we have a bunch of 1-ofs. We've got a nice little package with Eva, and we'll grab these 2 monsters. So Eva says whenever she's sent to the graveyard, you can banish 2 other light fairies from your graveyard, and you get to add up to 2, and you get to add up to that many from your deck to your hand. So these are only 2 targets, but they are also very synergistic with the deck. The Cyber Petite Angel can get any Cyber Ritual monster, or it can get the spell as well. And then Cyber Egg Angel can go get our field spell as well as other Cyber Angel support. And then to round off the last of our monsters is Christia. If you have exactly 4 fairy types in your graveyard, you can special summon her for free from your hand and return one of those fairies back to your hand. And she also reads that neither player can special summon, which just locks out 90% of the decks right now in the metagame. So if you're able to open up Christia plus Herald, game's over.
And it's searchable.
And it's searchable off of the Ben 10 search, yes. So you don't have any problems accessing her. So that will wrap it up for all the monsters. And we'll go on to our spells. So, main starters, pre-prep. This card's insane. So it lets you add any ritual spell card from your deck to your hand, and then you can also add a ritual monster listed on that spell card from your deck or graveyard. But I say sometimes that comes up that you can add from the graveyard, so don't forget about that. And then we've got 2 terraformings to access our field spell, which is Ritual Sanctuary. And Ritual Sanctuary has 2 effects. Once per turn, they're both once per turn effects. You can discard another spell card and search for any ritual monster or ritual spell and add it to your hand. And the second effect, which comes up quite a bit, is you shuffle in a number of spell cards in your graveyard for cost to then target a monster in your graveyard equal to the number of spell counters you shuffled in and special summon. So not only do you get to reuse monster fodder, but you can resummon your Petite Angels, you can resummon your Evas, your Manjus for XYZ.
And they get a search on something, don't they?
Yeah, the Petite Angel does. Yeah, but I say, and the Scepter actually triggers as well. You can search for other pieces of your Star Seraph engine as well off of the being able to summon. So this card is insane. But it's a MVP of the deck. If you're able to get this off, you're going to win the game. And then also more support. We've got 3 preparation of rites, which is just going to be your searcher of the deck. But say you can add back used up rituals. Most of the time, the ritual spells, you'll end up banishing those to bring back your monsters, which I'll get here in a second. And then we also have a few draw spells. We've got 3 Celestial Observatory. You put a level 6 from your field or hand on the bottom of your deck and you draw 2. And then I'm testing out 1 Merciful Machine Angel. You tribute a Cyber Angel monster, and you draw 2 cards, and then you put a card from your hand on the bottom of your deck. And then for the rest of the turn, you can only special summon other ritual monsters. So in this particular version of the deck, I tend not to want to see this on the first turn because I go into a couple of more monsters than just the Herald. So that can kind of play a part, but most of the time you're just going to tribute Ben 10 and search, draw 2 cards and then search off of Ben 10, so it's like a +3. And then finally is our ritual spell, Dawn of the Herald. It does damage, summons Herald, namesake card, and it also...
Ritual spell you're playing?
The only ritual spell I'm playing. Don't have to play anything else, so you don't ever summon the Ben 10 for any reason. She's only there to draw cards off of Celestial Observatory or the Machine Angel, or use it for fodder for discard for Herald. And that's it for the main deck. And for the extra, there's only a few cards that really matter. I'll kind of explain why. So we've got our Geldogger package. So we're running right now 2 Heralds and 1 Unst. This guy, whenever he's sent to the graveyard, he gets to search for any ritual spell or ritual monster, just like a Manju. But I mean, if you have Geldogger, you can just search twice in 1 turn, which is busted. And then there's also the Unst, in case you have a card that you need to get over. Unst, yeah, Unst. But she just lets you over problem cards, like things that you normally wouldn't be able to get over. Sometimes this deck has a problem getting over high attack monsters. So if like they have a Kaiju in play, or maybe like a Red Dragon Archfiend Abyss, something that you just need to get over, you can use this to either bait out a negate or just pop a problem card on the field. It's very versatile. I think I would almost play 2 and play extra Foolish Burial Goods, the one that sends the monsters from extra deck. I think that would be a good include. And then we play like standard Link monsters, Phoenix, Cerberus, and Decode Talker, just to have something to Link climb into for these big boys. I'm about to say these are your game winners. Never winning them today, but they can come up at times. It's like you can end up building quite a board if you're really ahead, so this ends the game a lot faster than just sitting and attacking with a Christia for game. And then just 1 hit potion again, just to pump up the board if you go wide and don't want to go into Boral Sword or Boral Load. And then the main ones we go into are Stellar Knight Deltaros and Evil Swarm Ouroboros. Whenever you go turn 1, most of the time you want to end up on Evil Swarm Ouroboros because of his effect to send a card from your opponent's hand at random. And not only that, if you set another card off of Scepter's effect, he gets to pop a card and draw a card. And if you're going second, you normally want to go to Deltaros because nobody can respond to his summon effect. So you either have to negate the summon or do nothing. And so whenever he's summoned, you get to use Scepter's effect to pop a card on field and draw a card, and they can't respond to it by activating or chaining it in response. So literally like almost like a spell speed 3 removal with this guy. And this guy, Ouroboros, also on top of sending a card from your opponent's hand to graveyard, he can bounce a card, he can banish a card out of a graveyard, but he can only use those effects once while he's on the field. And then Deltaros just destroys 1 other card on the field for detaching. And then we've got Constellar Diamond. You can actually go into him after Deltaros if you're playing against a dark heavy deck. He lets you just make that matchup a joke. Like against Orcus, you just slam this guy down and they just sit there and stare at the board. He got 2700 attack. He's really hard to get over. And then another utility XYZs that we're playing is Abyss Dweller for Salamangreats, Orcus, you name it. A lot of the meta games like that. And then Utopia and Utopia Lightning to get over some of the bigger monsters. So, and that's the extra deck. So.
Okay. Any sideboard?
Yeah. Yeah, I got some sideboard for today. Just pretty generic going second options, since you want to go open up normally, but you need cards that help you go second. So standard, 3 Panker Tops. This guy is just a house. He's huge body. He can pop a card on field. He's just a must. He's usually a 2-for-1 after you summon him. Like most people just can't answer him with just 1 card. And I'm playing 3 Chaos Hunter. He's very good against the Thunder Dragon matchup. Like they go to special summon 1 guy, and you just like inherent summon this guy, and they just kind of sit there and stare. Orcus has a hard time dealing with this, so I thought that he was a good option against that deck, and he's a big beater to close out games faster. And then for a little bit of protection, we've got 2 Twin Twisters and 1 Cosmic Cyclone. Just for generic back row decks like Salamangreats and Altergeists. It's even good against like True Dracos and stuff like that. And the Cyclone's really good against Salamangreats, so they can't recur their spells and traps back to their hand. And Herald loses to Solemn Strike really bad, so we want to play 3 red reboots so that we can just get that off. That's as long as we have Herald on board, it's like we can negate whatever else they're wanting to play. So we definitely want to go off, so we want to have this in. And then to break boards, we play 3 Starboats. And bring this in against the Crusadia decks, Orcus, things like that. The things that are going to make huge boards and try to just overwhelm you with advantage. So you can just tribute over the 3 best monsters, and then you just get to go to town. It's like most of the time, the 3 is going to be enough to get you where you need to be. So, and that's it. So.
Okay, cool. Any shout-outs?
Yeah, shout out to my locals, shout out to Brandon for making the YouTube channel and promoting our little scene. Shout out to 3 Stacks Team King of Games for the idea. I took a lot from his deck list, so I gotta give it to him. And shout outs to the Hideout for hosting the tournament today. So,
Okay.
thanks.